I have what should be a quick, fun Saturday morning upgrade to this Squier Telecaster. I figured that I would share this project because I've had a lot of questions from people when I do painting videos, and you can tell that they're afraid to take their guitars apart. They're kind of afraid to solder, and I figured it might be helpful to see someone like me that's kind of clumsy, you know, and not really an expert at this soldering thing, just to show how I would do it. And because I've done a lot of soldering, the guitars always play when they're done, and it may not be perfect, and it may not be the way that, you know, professional guitar tech would do it, but I'm going to show how your average guy can do it, or girl. And I just think it'll be a little bit more inspiring for some people to see someone like me do it rather than someone that works for Gibson or Fender or Stu Mac, something like that, because we know they're all experts. But let me show you what I got to use. So I wanted to do an upgrade, but not like go crazy expensive, because this is just a Squier. This is my Squier. These are from Amazon, and there's the part number, but I'll also show a screenshot of the part. These had good reviews, and these were under $30, and I think you could have gotten genuine Fender ones, probably close to $80. I'm not sure, I considered it, but then I had a gift card for Father's Day, so I figured, let me just use that, and that will be like my kids are paying to upgrade my guitar, which was kind of cool. And I also have a Pickguard, which I'll install. I'm going to try the black, but I kind of like the white, but someone had recommended that maybe the black might give me more of a vintage look. It's a black single ply. They have many options. This was around $8, also from Amazon. So if you have a Squier Affinity, this is a 2019, if you have a Squier Affinity, you'll see if this is going to fit, because they sell this as, you know, for a Fender American and made in Mexico. There's no mention of Squiers. So it looks like it's going to fit. If you have to drill an extra screw hole or something, that's fine. That's better than if the horn doesn't fit or something like that. Figured I'd measure these on the meter before I put them in, and I'll measure the other ones when I take them out, the old ones. So these measure 7.73 for the bridge. And 7.40. Wait, I got a little loose connection here, hold on. 744 for the neck pickup. So like I said, I think people are afraid to solder because I've had questions where people ask if on one of my painting videos if you can paint the guitar without taking the pickups out, and honestly I've actually done that early on and it doesn't work out really well. And I think the main thing that you need to worry about with soldering is to not burn yourself and to not burn your house down. It's actually not very difficult. You can mess it up and make it look ugly, but it's still going to work. And if there's anybody watching, if you have any like small tips that do-it-yourselfer can use, tips that you've experienced on your own, please put it in the comments. I'm not really interested in someone if you are repeating something that you've seen someone else do, but because you see a lot of that on the internet, things get repeated and repeated, and it's not really someone's personal experience. But if you have like a personal experience with changing something on a guitar, or with soldering in this case, that's what I'm interested in passing on to others, and could try myself. I'll be upgrading this bridge just in case someone's wondering later on, but I haven't quite decided which one to get. And this, you probably noticed that this guitar's been relicked. It wasn't my original intention, but I had dropped it, and that's what happened. It got relicked naturally, and then I decided to just take it to the next step. So let's see here. The soldering iron that I'm using is a cheap one. It's just actually I picked up the wrong one. Hold on. So this is the soldering iron I use. It's from Walmart. When I bought it, it was about $10. It's probably more than that now, but I haven't checked. So the main thing you want to do is make sure you don't touch this part. There's a picture on the internet of some woman holding it here, and obviously it's a fake picture. That's just whoever took the picture doesn't know what you're talking about. But I use this. It's a cheap one, but I don't use the solder that came with it. Was really thin and kind of cheap, so I use this solder that I had left over from doing auto repairs, wires and stuff like that in cars. So also a tip from auto repair is to just change one thing at a time. I've seen people change spark plug wires and they rip all of them off and then they put them on wrong. So in this case you only have 4 wires, and the white ones are going to be, or in this case there's a yellow one, they go to the switch, and the ground will go to the back of this pot. So I'm just going to desolder this just by heating it up and pulling on the white wire. This is to the neck pickup. So that's out. And in this case, I might snip the ground wire, the old one, just because I don't want to. This is trying to be simple and easy for others to follow, and I might do this on my own anyway, but if I snip this ground wire, then I don't have to mess with this big glob here with other ground wires going to it, and then I can just hook my wire there. So I had said I would test these original ones. Pulls out. So what that was just desoldered in just a couple minutes. Have the pickguard off. Strings were already off, but alright, this neck pickup says 4.45. So probably the ones that I bought were higher output, are going to be higher output. We'll see how they sound. I'm definitely not throwing these away. I'll keep them. So this type of meter you can also use to check your grounds and make sure everything is grounded. And you set it to this continuity tester. But there's also a little picture of like a kind of like a speaker or a sound, and you just touch it to what's supposed to be grounded. In this case it would have been the bridge. There's my ground wire, So then I know that this ground wire is going in, it's attached to here. And you can do that to all the parts that are, supposed to be grounded. I'm going to do that same thing where I snip, make sure it's the right ground wire, because there's two here. One is to the bridge, and I don't want to cut the bridge one, so I just will pull on this one and see which one moves, so I know it's this one then. If you did cut the wrong one, then you could just resolder it. So let me check this. As far as a before and after sound clip, I didn't think about doing that before, so I might find an old video of me playing this guitar. It's not going to be pretty, but maybe you can get an idea. Let me see here. Make sure I get a good connection. So that's 381. So they're very low output. So hopefully there's going to be a big difference in how it sounds. So I got a little excited, and I'm not listening to my own advice. I cut both, took both of them off before soldering the other one on. But I know that the bridge pickup goes on this side of the switch, which if I had gone away from the guitar for a little bit, I might actually have forgotten that. So I think that is, halfway decent advice, which I should have listened to. I think the wires on the switch are pretty easy to solder, because you can kind of give them like a little loop, but on the back of the pot it might be a little bit harder, just because you gotta kind of hold it in place or it'll just like pull off, because you can't hook it into like a loop or anything. I'm going to tie the two black ones together and solder them together, so that way there's just one solder joint. They're going to the same spot anyway, so it won't be an issue. These wires have solder on them already, like a little bit, but you could add a little bit as you're going. Also, I have this thing that I bought from Harbor Freight. I don't use it all the time, but I just figured I'd try it here to kind of hold this, since I'm doing this and I have to do it kind of quick. And we'll see. Maybe I'll turn this camera around. Hold on. So I'll put a little bit of solder on the iron first. I'm going to hold this down and then put the solder on there. And try to hold it in place as it cools. Actually, that was quite easy. And it seems to be a very good... So I let it cool, and then I'll always give it like a tug, just to make sure. And it doesn't look ugly. Give it a tug to make sure it's good. So let's see, the next step is the bridge wire to the switch. And there is solder already on the wire, and there's solder already on the switch, so I probably won't have to. I'll just heat it up a little bit and push that through. That's that, and then this one doesn't have as much solder, so I'm going to have to add some. But the same thing, just push it through. And I'll just put a little solder there. Kind of hold it in place. Let it cool. So I wasn't actually keeping track of time as far as the actual changing of the pickups, but I'm guessing that's like under 10 minutes. So, but it should be pretty much foolproof there. But just to make sure, before you put everything back together, you could hook this up to an amplifier and tap on this with a screwdriver. But since I have this meter here, I can just hook the meter up, hold these leads on with my finger, and just check the voltage here. That's with the bridge. It's the center, and there's the neck. So everything is wired up properly. Of course, if I had switched the wires, the tapping with the screwdriver would be a better test with an amplifier, because then I could put it on here, tap it, and then tap both, and then do that. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and do that. So there should be some static because it's not grounded right now. But here's the bridge. This should be both. And here's just the neck. So there shouldn't be any on there. So everything's wired up properly. Now all I have to do is reassemble, and we'll see if the pickguard fits. So the pickguard fit pretty well. There was a couple screw holes that were slightly off, but not enough that I'd had to fill anything or re-drill. The only thing that I, so far on first glance, see that's not quite the same is it's a little bit shorter right here. Like this is a little bit pointier. So then I see a little bit of where it's chipped underneath. But that's the only thing that I noticed. That certainly doesn't bother me. I was mainly concerned when buying this if maybe this was like offset over here, or just totally didn't line up with anything, or everything seems to line up fine. So I'll just go string this up off camera, and then we'll do a sound test later on. So as you can see, this was a quick upgrade, a cheap upgrade, and it's fairly easy. There's nothing to be afraid of, except for, as I said, burning yourself and burning your house down, causing a fire. You can definitely do all those things with the soldering iron. But you're melting, the solder, you need the heat, but you have to be safe. Just like everything in life, you have to be safe. So as long as you're cautious and you don't do something stupid like touch the, I wouldn't say stupid, accidental, like touching the metal, you just have to be extremely cautious with that, and you have to set the iron aside to cool, unplug it immediately when you're done. And you can come back and double check, but because I always do that. But unplug it, let it cool off, and you should be fine. You can see this job was probably the actual soldering was like 5 minutes maybe more, maybe less, I can't remember. But it's definitely something just about anyone can do, and that's why I'm showing this. If I can do it, you can do it, most likely. I'm a klutz. I'm not good with little detail things, up-close things. And that's why I'm sharing all these things. Paint jobs, little upgrades that you can do to your guitars. You can do it yourself. You don't really need to pay someone else, or you don't need to like hold off on doing it. That's why these Squiers are like great little guitars to have. You can learn on these, and you can get something better later on. Maybe it doesn't need upgrading, but if it does, then you'll have the confidence that you build up working on a Squier or an Epiphone, something like that. So if you have, like I said, any personal experience, tips that you wanted to share that I didn't show, I don't know what you would show, but just a little tip here or there, but everything went quick and it's solid and it works. So can't think of anything else to say, but I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you got some confidence or learned at least one thing from this video. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe if I helped you in a way. Like it. Don't share it. You don't want to share it with your friends. They might think you're a weirdo. But definitely like it and subscribe. And I am going to show in another video, I made a comfort carve on the back using just a sander. So I'll show that in a future video.